really cold today. It was 75 degrees yesterday, and now it's 34. So bear with me in the sound of the windshield wipers. I don't know who's gonna see this. Maybe it's gonna be 0 people, like it usually is. Maybe for some reason this one is gonna resonate and get traction on the algorithm. I don't know. It weirds me out when that happens. I get nervous, honestly. I'm just being honest. I get very uncomfortable when more than like 4 people have a reaction to something that I've said, positive or negative. Anyway, so posting a video after that has happened feels weird, right? There's always a sort of pressure. But I'm trying to just let that one be what it was, and you know, it's done now. I don't have like a profound thing to say. Most of this is my expression on this channel is just trying to document and be really honest about, I don't know, what it's like to exist right now, and to be witnessing the process of humanity's awakening to itself as life, as consciousness. And I can only do that from my personal perspective. I used to tap into the collective a lot. I still do that, but I'm learning that that's not the way that I meant to go about it. I don't really know how to explain or describe that. It's just I've always tried to feel other people's pain. I mean, maybe not always, but it started pretty early. It started pretty early. And the first time that I even really recognized the pain of others, the first time I really felt that in a heavy way, I never really put down that weight, you know. The first time that I realized I was doing something that had an effect on something else, someone else, life itself. I felt shame. There was pretty immediately the shame, and then directly into, I don't even know, just the weight of pain in the world. God, like the tremendous weight of the pain, the suffering, the death, all of this shit just immediately on my shoulders. Feeling like if I didn't feel that somehow I would be a monster. It's amazing how immediately that story set in. If I'm not feeling the pain, it's one thing to recognize that, hey, your actions do have an effect on the world around you. Like, you do have an impact on the experiencing of others. And is this an impact that you want to continue to have the way that this one was? It was a bug. I'll just tell the story. I was a kid. I was a kid at the age that many kids are really not connected to the world around them. If you grew up in a society like I grew up in, which was not connected to nature, you know, there's this divide between humans and the rest of the world, between civilization and the rest rest of the world. So of course there's this weird like disconnect between you and nature. And I was burning ants. And it wasn't just that. And I was fascinated by it. I didn't understand. I was just fascinated by the physical reactions that were taking place. And at one point I found like a wounded stink bug. I came across a wounded stink bug, and I trapped it in a pile of rocks, and this is probably I can feel I'm getting emotional, it's probably gonna make me cry. Okay. I trapped it in a small pile of rocks, and ants started to swarm it while it was still alive. And of course, this is not like a foreign thing in nature, like stuff happens like this in the world all the time, but I was doing it, and my dad found me and was like, that stink bug is also alive, that stink bug is also feeling things, and you chose to trap it. And of course, and I'm not judging my dad or anybody, because there was something genuine motivating him there, of course, to help me recognize again that my actions had an impact, but it was already laden with this like moral responsibility, right? Like, did you do the right thing? Do you feel good about yourself? Not just does the action feel good now that you realize that this action maybe, I don't know, created hurt, but even then it's sticky. It's sticky. It's just the weight of shame. I can feel that the weight of shame and the weight of the pain of others in that moment immediately descended upon me. It was judgment. It was the feeling that you should feel bad for this. You should feel bad. You should feel bad. And that didn't teach me anything except to feel bad. I don't even really know how to talk about this. Because I can hear the voices inside of my own mind arguing. I can hear them saying, yeah, you should feel bad. Yeah, you should. Absolutely. Reprehensible. These are the same voices that would say a person who kills people should be killed. They're so against murder, they're so revolted by murder, yet they would murder someone for doing the murdering. Where is the logic in that? Where is the justice in that? You wanna it's just, this is karma. This is what karma is. It's just, we fling the same shit back and forth at each other over and over again. I don't know what I'm trying to say, other than there's a huge pushback internally. I can see the mind. I've had a couple of days, right, of being in this place where I could choose not to fight the wars of the mind, and I could choose not to suffer. And the mind tried a number of times to hook me back in, but it really upped its efforts today. It's really really up to its epics today, and I'm seeing powerfully that there's a deeply imprinted program of martyrdom in me. I can't talk about anybody else, especially not right now. I need to just talk about my own experience. There's a deeply imprinted program, there's a character identity of the martyr, of the saint, the would-be saint. I cannot tell you how much of my life there's been this thing in me that wanted to be a saint. Like truly, literally wanted to be someone who was canonized as a saint. You know, the hero, savior of the downtrodden and the poor and the oppressed and estranged and all of this, you know. The one who raised them up out of their suffering. That identity, that character blueprint is fucking deep in there in me. So it's an easy way, the mind knows it's an easy way to wound me, to wound that identity, right? Because I can't be wounded. I don't have anything that is capable of wounding. There's nothing in me, actual me, like I cannot be harmed. It's that which is in me. It's these characters which are in me, created by the mind, which are capable of experiencing diminishment. A diminishment of their sense of self, which is perceived as wound, as damage. And this one is probably the easiest to grab hold of. It's the most exposed. I don't know. It's I can feel it. So there's a tremendous suffering taking place inside of me right now. There is a character identity that I used to be fully identified with. That is in a great deal of pain. Oh, my windshield wipers, you're so loud. It's screaming. It's really trying. It's really trying to get me to align with it. All that means is like taking it seriously, trying to do something about it, about the suffering of this character that says that it's me. Whether or not I like fully become one with it, or I become this sort of silent secondary saint character that is now trying to help this one, right? That's the trickier one even. That the mind is so fucking clever. Even if I see that what is screaming out in me is an egoic identity, is a mentally created character with this backstory and this script, even if I see that, it will try to sneak in the back door. It knows that I'm seeing this character, so it will try to get me to identify as a sort of silent, other unnamed third-party character, like off camera, out of the scene. So I think it will try to get me to feel bad for this one, to play a different character that is feeling bad for this character that is feeling bad. And that I am refusing, that I'm saying I'm refusing to align with, I'm refusing to suffer for. suffer is you actually feel the discomfort of that. That means that I'm letting this pain happen and I'm not doing something about it. I'm letting this pain happen and I'm not doing something about it. Because I can't. I can't. There isn't anything I can do about it. I cannot end the war in someone else. I can't even end the war in the mind as instanced in myself. I cannot do that. I do not need to do that. I cannot do that, and I do not need to do that. And it is really fucking challenging. Everything is coming up to resist this, to resist my refusal. My refusal to participate in the war. Because even fucking an effort to end war is a war against war. If I resist it, I'm adding to it. That's how it works. There isn't anything I can do. Except this. Except say no. I'm not going over there with you. You can go wherever you like. You can go as far away as you like. You can go as deep into suffering as you like. You're going there. You have the power. It is your choice. Yes, it does hurt. You can stick your hand in a fire. You can walk into a fire. That's your choice. You're that free. But if you're standing in the fire that you walked into and that you can walk out of, and you're standing there screaming because you're burning, you're on fire. That hurts. But if you're standing there screaming for somebody else, for me, to try to get you out of it, all I can do is stand here, not in the fire, and say, come back out. Walk back out. You have to do that yourself. I can't do that for you. I cannot make you walk out of the fire. And if I come in there, all that happens is that I'm on fire too. I cannot help you walk back out of the fire that you walked into by coming into it myself. I can't. I can't come. If I come in there and try to drag you out, all that happens is that I'm burning too now. And the only thing I can do, the only power I have, is to step out of that fire myself, and I can't take you with me. And that is the pain. That's the pain I gotta sit with. Not your pain. You're okay. You could step out of that. But there is a pain in realizing that I have no power over you, which includes equally, I have no power over your suffering. I have no power over the wars that you are choosing to wage, that you're choosing to align with. I have no power over your choice to stand in the fire. You did that yourself. You don't have to do that. I'm not mad. None of this is a punishment. The fire isn't a moral indictment. It's not a judgment of you or anybody. And it's not a judgment of you. It doesn't mean anything about you that you chose to step into it. This is something we all experience. But it has to be you who chooses to step out of it. And whoever is listening, I don't know, I trust that this hits the way that it's meant to hit. The word you, I'm probably not talking about you, the viewer. I think you can probably feel that. I think you can, maybe I am, but also maybe you're a aligned with this perspective of realizing if you're a person who has tried to help people, that's not something that you can do. I mean, I don't mean you can't help somebody up off the ground. I don't mean you can't, if somebody is bleeding on the street, and I'm hearing in my mind Abraham Hicks saying this exact same thing. Like, if someone was bleeding on the street, you would help them, of course. Telling the story of Esther and Jerry always having a fire extinguisher in their car in case they saw somebody's car on fire. And one time it happened. If someone's car is on fire, put it out. If something's, if you're capable, these are like easy, obvious situations where, yeah, of course you would help that person. But what you cannot do is liberate someone from suffering. What you cannot do is end a war for somebody else. Anybody else. And that includes, importantly, the characters that are alive in you. The characters in your own mind. The characters that say that they are you, or that they are your children, or like in here, whatever way, these are different ways that my mind has portrayed itself to me. The mind as instance in myself, therefore I would call it my mind, but it's just my experience of the mind, has portrayed itself as me, as my responsibility. That's a big one, whether it's like your child or whatever, it's your responsibility. That's what it says to me. It's like, my suffering is your responsibility. When I walk into the flames, it's your responsibility to pull me out. That's what it says. And if I believe that story, guess what I do? I step into the fire, I set myself on fire, and nothing fucking changes anyway. Nothing happens. Maybe it gives me a little gold star sticker, a pat on the back. A good boy. I will call you good now. I will call you good. I will judge you as good, says the mind, if you come into this fire pit with me. And then what? I'm standing in a fire pit. I'm burning for no fucking reason. Nothing is changing. And I get a little sticker? No, I'm saying to the mind, and I'm saying to this energy, respectfully, lovingly, firmly, no. I'm not coming over there. I cannot help you. It's not my place to do that. In fact, this is for you to discover your power. Your power is your choice to step out of the fire. That's what I'm demonstrating. What I am demonstrating by not being in the fire is that there's a choice. I have a choice. You have a choice. You can step out. All I can do is demonstrate that by doing it myself and by refusing to step back in. I cannot go over there with you. Not again. Not anymore. I cannot liberate anyone else from suffering because I am not a liberator. I am not a savior. I am not a saint. I'm not a martyr. I'm not an angel here to save anybody. The only person I can help is myself. And that's not even the self in here. All the self-help stuff, all the self-help books, all the courses, all of that shit, it doesn't work because the self we're trying to help isn't ours. It isn't you. That is the voice. That's a character in the mind. And that character cannot be helped by you. I'm not confident that it even needs or wants help. I don't think it does. If it needed help, we would be capable of giving it. If it needed help, we would be capable of giving it. But we can't. I cannot help the self that's in my mind. I cannot help the characters that my mind created to suffer. Created based on conflict. That's at the very source of their programming, is conflict. I know a lot of this is, I'm saying the same thing that I just said. I say the same things over and over and over because there really isn't all that much to say. There really isn't all that much to say. It is all the same stuff. Once you're here, you're here. What else is there to say about it? It's really more of a direct experience. Words kind of get in the way. I'm feeling the tremendous resistance of the mind. Again, this isn't my resistance. Resistance to the influence of a mentally created story, a projected story, I feel, is different from resistance to what is. In fact, if I were to take on this story, I would be resisting what is. That's what the story is about. The story is about the horrible suffering that shouldn't be happening. That needs to stop, that I need to do something about. In my refusal to accept the influence of this projected story, the story that says, I'm responsible for this and I need to do something about it, in my refusal to take on that story, to align with it, I'm refusing to resist what is. I'm allowing the mind and this mental character to be in a state of resistance, to experience suffering, to stand in the fire. That's the pain that I refuse to take on. I refuse to feel bad about that. In my refusal to feel bad about, I can acknowledge the real hurt of accepting that I cannot help other people end their own suffering. And that brings emotion. There's genuine emotion there. I am powerless to end suffering in others. I am powerless to end war in others. That is not something I can do. And I can stay here. I can sit in this place of acceptance, of just grieving that, accepting the reality that people are in pain, in suffering, and really it is okay. They're not in danger, and they can stop, but I can't make them. And if I were even to try to save somebody, is to rob them of their free will, is to prevent them from realizing their power, which is the power to choose to stop suffering. To choose to stop suffering is choosing to stop identify with the mental stories of misery. To stop identifying with the experiences of fear, anxiety, worry, misery, despair, guilt, shame, blame. It doesn't mean suppressing. In fact, when you stop identifying with these experiences, that means you're giving them space. You're allowing them to be. It's the identification that, wraps a fist around the whole thing. To stop identifying, to say this isn't mine and it doesn't belong to me. It is happening within me. It's happening to this mental character, but it isn't mine, so I'm not picking this up. This doesn't belong to me. But it's not like a shoving out either. It's not a suppression. That actually happens with the backdoor identification. Again, that sort of secondary silent character that is telling the separate story that is the first story shouldn't be there, right? So whenever there's a story of this shouldn't be here, that's a mental character projecting, saying their script. But just refusing to take on any of the stories, refusing to identify with any of that, to identify with any of the sensations created by that, is what gives them the space to exist. It gives the mind clearance to be on fire, to suffer, for these mentally created characters to burn and to suffer, and for that not to be your responsibility. And this goes against all of the programming, not just in Western culture. This is global. It's universal. I mean, there are certain cultures, like a few, primarily, I would say, indigenous and not influenced by Westernization at all. But they are few and far between. It's not, there have even been many indigenous cultures that are now subject to this. The weight of responsibility for suffering, not responsibility for your own pain, responsibility for others' pain. That's something you should do something about. But your awareness of your own pain is how you become aware of the pain of others. And your willingness to take ownership of your own pain and your own experience is what enables you to freely communicate that without judgment, without casting blame, without pointing an accusatory finger and saying, you fix this, you're responsible for this. To just say a thing happened and I'm feeling hurt, not you hurt me. This happened and I feel hurt. And now we can have an open, honest conversation about that, where there isn't this imaginary weight of judgment hanging over our shoulders, looming over us. My hurting is mine and it teaches me. And I will communicate that openly with you so that we can together share in the experience of learning, of hurting. When I learn of your hurting, I may experience my own. But it's mine, and yours is yours. And we're each going to learn from this how it is that we want to feel, how it is that we want to conduct ourselves with one another, how we want to relate. We learn more about what feels good for both of us. At no point is it a judgment thing. At no point do we need to resort to this shame, blame bullshit. That's where it all goes awry. If I'm making you responsible for my pain, I've disempowered myself. Now my entire experience is hinged upon your behavior. That's a pressure, that's a weight that doesn't belong there. No, I'm done. I'm putting it back. I can feel the immense conditioning inside of me. Okay, the mind is freaking the fuck out. That I really am, like, it's given me, a couple of days, and this is usually how it's been. I'll make the decision to stop suffering, which is to stop worrying, to stop feeling bad about, to stop trying to fix, to stop trying to save it in every instance, whether it is within other people or in myself. And I get a couple days of like, it's kind of trying to hook me, but it's not a real big deal. And then there'll be this push, this like onslaught of it feels like being besieged. It feels like just arrows constantly coming at me, and they're hitting this deep programmed character that is the one who cares, the one who feels bad, the one who demonstrates their goodness by feeling bad for and about. The feeling bad for is fucking performative. I can honor the hurt, the reality of hurt, without performing feeling bad. There's no value in that. There's no help in that. That is fully an egoic, inflationary thing. And I'm not judging that either. It's just useless. And it doesn't actually feel good. It's just this synthetic, artificial, sense of expansion in a tiny bit of inflation. Sense of security in this little, tense bubble. Like, what is that? No, it's the fucking gold star. I gave up my peace for a gold star? Really? No. Fuck no. Yes, I am saying fuck no to this energy. So it can call me whatever it wants. It can call me a bad person, a bad guy, a villain, a monster. It can threaten me with the implication that this means that I'm gonna be terrible to people. That so every one of these words is essentially carrying with it, it's poisoned at the tip with this implication that I am causing harm. That I am causing harm. I'm the cause of the suffering. And in my refusal to accept that I'm the cause of the suffering, guess what? I'm just more cause of the suffering. Because if I accepted I was the cause of the suffering, then I would take on the responsibility, the burden, the responsibility of doing something about it. But I fucking can't. All that happens when I step into the fire, which is the taking responsibility, is I'm burning too. Nobody gets out. Nobody gets out. We're all just boiling alive. Being in pain alongside someone else is not supporting them. That's just escaping the pain of watching them suffer. That's just escaping. That's just escaping the real challenge, the real weight, not weight, the real discomfort of sitting with the hurt, of recognizing this person is on fire and I can't do anything about it. I have to stand here, not burning. That's the only thing I can do, is to show them they have a choice. But they're gonna be over there saying it's unfair. I'm on fire and you're not. It's unfair. The world is so terrible. It's so mean to me. It's unfair. It's unjust. Come and get me. Save me from this fire. I can't. I can't. You can step out. I am no good to you over there. I'm no good to myself over there. All I can do is stand here. And when you're ready to put down the suffering, you will. It sucks. I know. I've been there. It has to suck. That's the only reason we choose to put it down. There's a fun in it. There's like a fun drama for a while. It gets old fast. It gets old fast. You know, it's like eating candy every day, all day. Fun for like 2 days, and then you feel terrible. You just feel sick. You don't want to do that anymore. You can stop. Just stop. Stop telling the story that says you have to do that. You don't have to do that. That's just a character. Stop identifying with it. That's not you. That's not your pain. That's not your struggle. That is not your struggle. That is the struggle created by the mind. That's a mental character doing that. Let it happen. That's not your fucking business. It's okay. We cannot carry pain for other people. We cannot end suffering for other people. We cannot end war anywhere except inside ourselves. We can't even end the war of the mind or the suffering of the mind. We can just let it happen and stop being a part of it. We can stop making it ours. That's not my conflict. I'm not in conflict. And there is pain. It is hard to watch. Many times. But I can see too, the drama is created. It's playing a game. It's playing a game. This whole thing is imaginary. This whole sense of weight, of burden, of burning, all of it. There's not even an actual fire there. It's like it's hypnotized itself. It's so deep in imagination that it's created the sense of being on fire when nothing is actually happening. It's not on fire. It's entirely made up. It's very convincing. I mean, it's a real experience, but it is an illusion. The mind has convinced itself that it's in pain and that it's powerless to stop that. And not only am I not able to do anything about that, it's really not my place. I don't need to. I don't need to worry. I don't need to take on the suffering over suffering. I don't need to worry. It's okay. It's okay. The world will scream it's not. But all I can do is say, okay. Okay. I'm not departing from my own energy, my own position of stability. I'm not picking up the pain and covering up the peace. Not anymore. Fuck no. I gotta go. I love you. Take it easy.